All right.
So what I'm going to do is flip over to my presentation and basically kind of give you an overview of me, how I came about to do what I'm doing, why I have the drone bug fever, and how we can all work together. So let me start here by going to share my screen. I got a lot of them open. I should have closed some. Let's make sure I got the right one. Okay. Do you see a full screen of upgrading the talent?
It looks perfect.
Okay, very good. So my company is Scully Staffing, and my motto is upgrading the talent, because the goal is to, like I say, because I've been in the industry, I want to help upgrade the talent. I think I want to go to the next slide here. Me, as I say, I'm the CEO of Scully Staffing Solutions. I am an ambassador for Women in Drones, and I am also the network director for Women in Technology International here in LA, and I'm also a mom, just in case you guys didn't know that, 24-year-old. But when I'm not working, I'm typically trying to get all of these certifications that you notice here at the bottom: veteran, disabled veteran, small business, disabled business, Scrum certification, and also, like I said, I'm ex-Navy. So I try to let people know in a nutshell, like, this is who I am, and this is kind of like where I kind of came from. But to just drill down a little more, before I get into all the details, I wanted to express one of my sayings with you all. If you always do what you always did, you will always get what you always got. What does that mean for me? As I was growing up and working, most of my family members were either self-employed or they worked in like the big manufacturing companies. And like I said, as I grew up, I decided, okay, I don't want to always work for somebody. So let me figure out how I'm going to navigate that. And one of the ways I would start thinking about it and processing everything were to listen to great speakers like Les Brown. And I know Kim mentioned earlier Toastmasters. So joining different organizations, I got a chance to be, I guess you can say, exposed to different types of things. So for instance, it's going on my background here. When I was in the military in Rhode Island, I'm just going to show my age here. I was in Rhode Island and I was a computer trainer. The way I became a computer trainer, even though that's not a real title in the Navy, I was a yeoman. And they said, Sam, Petty Officer Forward, you're going to go up to the War College. You're going to train. And I'm like, train what? They're like, you're going to train Lotus 1, 2, 3. So of course I attempt to train. I learned that you can't go up and train without notes and some type of presentation. Back then we didn't have PowerPoint. I think we had Harvard Graphics. But then from there I left, got out of the military, went to Atlanta, decided to be a consultant. I started my first tech company called Techno, and I was a little bit ahead of my time because I wanted to have internet access and coffee, but nobody wanted to buy all the multiple phone lines. So I didn't get a chance to kick that off, but it didn't stop me from exploring to other areas, leaving Atlanta and becoming a traveling systems consultant. And one of the things was I got to California, out here in Calabasas. I thought everything looked like Calabasas, and I decided to move to California. And also, the money that I was making compared to Georgia was double. So I was like, okay, Mom, will you keep this little kid? I'll be back to pick him up in a couple of months. I'm gonna go to California, buy a house, and I'm going to continue being a solopreneur. So that's basically what I've continued to do. Let's say the last 20 years, but I've had different roles, been an instructional designer, e-learning designer, IT project manager, training manager, and then finally my own company. In the way I got there from being a consultant, I realized that there needed to be other minorities, other women, other veterans on these types of projects. So I decided to start my staffing company, Scully Staffing Solutions. So that brings me up to, like I say, present day. And my mission with Scully Staffing, as I mentioned in the beginning, It's to upgrade the talent, but specifically for technology and drones, because you have all kind of people out there, people who are introverted, who are extroverted, people who are analytical, people who are creative, fickle, loyal, passive, active. Some people, they don't know how to get into the industry. So that's the role that I've taken on upon myself, as like I say, to help minorities, others, women, veterans, the disabled, to get into this space. Because I mean, I've been in it, and why not devise a plan and get started? And so that's, like I said, that's what I've been basically doing over these last 2 years. You said, well, Sam, what exactly do you staff for? Information technology roles within the healthcare industry, business operations, customer service, maintenance, manufacturing, and sales. And sometimes these particular areas, they might not need just a salesperson. Some of them need a programmer. Some of them need a data scientist. So it really depends on your need. And my role, what I want to share with you all today, and also find out from you, when you're looking for opportunity or when you're looking for a staffing company, what exactly do you want from that agency? Do you trust that agency? And how do you go about finding that agency to help you find someone that is either a contract person, you might need them temporarily, or someone who you might need them permanent, or you might need them to be remote, because as we know now, the industry is totally different. A lot of people want to be remote, but we still, of course, but you have some roles that require them to be on site. So I'm going to pause at this point and take your questions, about so far what I have just kind of went over with you.
So if anybody's got any questions, you can pop them into the chat there if you'd like. If you have any questions about how do you go about getting quality employees or job placement, or from the other side, you have an opportunity that you want to open up the door for. What solutions do you look for?
So Sam, as far as staffing goes, so you are like, if I wanted to hire a couple more drone pilot assistants, then I would come to you, tell you, I mean, can you assist me to figure out exactly what I'm looking for?
Yes,
That's
Kim,
part of the
basically you and I,
process,
we would, set up a meeting, and I would ask you like a series of questions: what you're looking for, what's your time frame, what's your budget, and what type of roles. If it's a role that I staff for, then we're going to get together and help you staff for that. But if it's a role I don't staff for, that's why I have some other staffing partners that I partner up with. So like as of now, I'm not staffing remote pilots yet. That's something that I'm going to scale to, but I do have partners who are staffing remote pilots, and then I would bring them on board to help fill that order.
And do you, and as far as the staffing goes, and I mean, this might be something that, might change, is it only staffing for employees, or can you match up, like, so for instance, I have a couple of drone pilot assistants, they're basically, get paid on a 1099. It's not employee yet.
And that's one of the things we do also, Kim. You like you say, you might need some temporary people, but you don't want to manage the payroll. So we manage the payroll for you. So for instance, I would invoice you for our services. You would pay me net 21 for net 14. But I'm responsible for getting that employee set up in something like a ADP, so that I have all of their information and their checking account, and then, like you say, pay them, and they'll either be paid on what we negotiate. They'll either be paid on a 1099, or they'll be paid on a W-2.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, great, thank you.
So, if you don't mind, I can express one of my last projects I just did with Providence Hospital, which during COVID, I was very lucky. I secured a contract last August, and with this training company out of Arizona, and they were basically hiring EMR trainers, electronic medical records trainers, where they go into the hospitals and they literally train the provider, the doctor, the nurses, the MAs, medical assistants, and of course the back end office. They train them how to use the software to check that patient in, how to order their labs, and how to put them, for instance, if you're on a pain management program, there are different modules within the software. So the trainers were responsible for going to Texas, coming to Irvine, California. And they were very blessed as well because they didn't have to go on site. Now, the second part of the contract, which is in Santa Maria, they are on site. But my point to the story is when I was able to call those 22 people last July that I have you a job and you're going to be working online and you're going to be working through COVID. I mean, that was like the most ultimate feeling to be able, like I say, to help people get jobs and to just say, to be able to like say, hey, you're going to make some money. You're going to be able to support your family. So this is what I get out of it. Being able to, like I say, help put those people in those places. I've got to go to my next one then, if there's no questions.
So I kind of want to
Yes.
circle back to a little bit about Kim's question. So she had mentioned, if you were getting ready to hire pilots and such like that. And I was thinking of also the bigger picture of just business in general and the connections that could be made in that respect. That there's more to running a company than just doing the piloting side of things. I know everybody loves the documentation that is involved with doing drone operations, right? And those SOPs and all that stuff. And so I know
Didn't somebody recently buy a book or write a book about SOPs?
Hey, you know
It's a
what?
great
I think
read.
that might be coming. And so I know looking at the whole business aspect, there's a lot of parts to it that staffing is required.
And Desi, you're right, because there's like two parts. Actually it's three. There's the part where I have to have the relationship with the companies, to get the job order and with the hiring manager, the project manager. Second part, I have to find those candidates. I find those candidates either through my network, community colleges, associations, and of course, websites, and just people that I kind of meet on a daily basis. I could be at a concert, I could be at a whatever, but I'm going to be finding out what you do so that we can connect. And and that's one of the ways I like to say, I have that personable relationship with people that I'm going to refer to you. But again, and the third part is me, because I have to still maintain those relationships with the companies and with the individuals and, and stand on top of my skill set. And with the drone industry being new to me, I realized that, no, I'm not going to staff remote pilots yet, but I am going to staff the back end, the business end, because there are other things that need to be done. Companies are growing. And I think last I checked, I don't know if it was $26 billion industry, but it's a big industry. And I know they need programmers, project managers, and things of that nature.
I had a real quick question.
Yes.
Initially, you mentioned that you were a solopreneur, and which is tough. Everybody knows that. And as all of us here, some of us are starting, some of us are more progressed. But as we build out our companies and what we do with drones, at some point in time, we're going to need, maybe a fractional CFO, sometimes a CPA, and all these professional services other than, just trying to do QuickBooks. Do you offer, because, QuickBooks is one thing, but when you start, making things happen, it's a whole nother story. And then on top of that, you're going to need an HR person that goes, hey, you can't hire this person or pay him every 2 weeks as a contractor because of AB, whatever. Now they're actually an employee. Do you have people that we can hire out as in fractional services, like a CFO or part-time HR director? Do you do those things too? Because those are really important to the overall business of what we're doing.
Yes, and that's where that networking comes in. That when I go to different events, or like I say, or I'm getting different certifications, because I have two areas as I work in. The public sector here being in LA, LAX, Los Angeles Airport, Burbank Airport, metro train station, and a couple of engineering companies. But from having those relationships, meeting those CFOs, again, I'm always recruiting. You know, because and that's what I consider that set of people my passive group of people, or people that I meet on. For instance, I was on a online conference, Blacks in Technology, and there were several, like you say, CFOs, CTOs. I met people with Snap. I met people with Cash App. And they might not be necessarily looking, but now that we've met and connected, I would, reach out. Oh, Kim, we were on a meeting, and just so happened I was talking to one of my clients, and they're looking for a CFO. Are you in the market, or do you have a friend that's in the market? So just leveraging those relationships and and just valuing people instead of just like always trying to get something, but trying to be able to, like I say, to be of value to them as well, or others.
Cool. Thanks. Thanks.
You're welcome.
And,
Thanks for the question.
and does that also apply to the nonprofit side? Because
Yes.
not everybody's here not everybody here is for profit.
The nonprofit market is a big industry to recruit for now.
Okay.
Because people don't think they think of nonprofit, they think of low profits, but it's another industry for, again, like you say, CTOs, CFOs, or others to consider.
Bounce, I think you had another question in there as well, or did that kind of summarize the question?
I'm sorry about that. Slip your fingers.
So as far as your staffing, do you have candidates that are for programming and other aspects as well?
Yes, I have candidates through, some of you might have heard of the Divine Nine. Our vice president was a part of that. But I met the Divine Nine coordinator on LinkedIn, I think last summer. And the Divine Nine is basically a group of an association where they have relationships with the historical Black colleges. In historical Black colleges, what they want to do, what they have decided to do in the Divine Nine is locate people, students that want to be, I'll just say STEM, engineers, programmers. And so what they've done, like I say, is gathered a database of students who want to participate. So I have a relationship with them. And that is a huge relationship because, like I say, my target is to also reach minorities because, again, you have the Microsoft, you have the SpaceX. They want help in getting minorities and women. And so having relationships with organizations like the Divine Nine definitely helps my network. And then, of course, I have my database of candidates that I've been building, I guess, say over the last 5 years. I have about 800 people in my database. They're tech related.
Quite a database, yeah.
I still use Access.
Hey, Sam, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Wondering
Is
what
that
your
Renee?
thoughts are. Hey there. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning,
On,
Renee.
Reskilling and upskilling. So reskilling being looking for folks with adjacent skills close to new skills that a company needs. But the upscaling is teaching them new and advanced skills to kind of close that talent gap. And I noticed, for instance, with with writing grants and preparing public service agencies or policemen and firemen, it's in the zone of upscaling. It's not training them on police stuff, but bringing in the UAVs as we know, is an entirely different skill set. Are you finding or hearing about anything or any opportunities for training around that? Like I understand who could do the training, but is that something that companies are reaching out to talk to you about?
No, since there's so many programs already, Renee, where they've already created these programs where people can learn online and learn for free. Or they partnered with people, for instance, like Workday. A lot of those resources are already out there. That's not particularly my market, but if I do run into someone who says, okay, I don't know PHP or I don't know Cake, which is a programming language, I do have resources for them to start looking at that.
Okay, got it.
Because one of my most successful placements was in the beginning of, I think, 2018. And the young man interviewed, he didn't have enough skill set. I told him what to do. And I resubmitted him 2 months later. He got the job and he's been working for me ever since, from following my advice of, upgrading his skills.
I noticed when we were at that last, at the commercial UAV, our last session, and we were talking about staffing, I noticed that the majority of the conference was, I'll just say 40-year-olds and over, but yet a lot of the workforce talk was about the young students that were graduating in aviation and UAV fields and so forth. And I wondered about those of us who came a different way also, and that are now, in the field, and maybe I've done something totally different for 20 years. Now I'm on this side. So yeah, lots happening.
I feel the same way. I have to upgrade my skills.
Right.
And that's why I decided to get my my remote pilot's license, because since I did become a member of Women in Drones, and like as I mentioned earlier, I got bit by the drone bug when I met Sharon about maybe it was 2018. We were at Interdrone in Vegas, and I said, okay, I like this. I like this industry. And as I was listening to many of you on the calls, I didn't understand the lingo, what a payload was, all of these technical terms. And so I decided I didn't even know I was going to get my remote license. So one day I just woke up and say, okay, let me upgrade my skills. And then as I started to go through the industry and learn and prepare for the test, I said, well, now let me take my company and not just source for manufacturing, engineering companies. Let me also help drone companies, because some of the companies I have staff for these companies, as I mentioned earlier. And I said, well, let me add a new type of client to my list. And the reason I'm on this call with you all this morning is because I know that you are already actively in the drone business. And so again, I just wanted to present to you all, this is what my company likes to do. We are capable of helping you find people. And if you would like to align with us, I would love to, develop that relationship with you, or have that call with you to find out what your needs are. So I can put you up on this board too.
I had a quick question.
Yes.
There seems to be a shortage in the labor market. Do you find that applicable to the drone space, or is it there's not enough drone jobs for the drone market yet? I'm kind of trying to figure out what is going on.
Well, I don't know all the details about the drone industry, but I can say this much, that there are a lot of jobs everywhere I go. Panera Bread, I was in Desi's area the other day, and they had a whole corner section off for hiring. Like the hard paper hiring, where you go in and fill out an application. And I hadn't seen that in a long time, but wherever you go, there is a need. And so for me, I'm like, this is my time to help companies figure out how I can be of assistance as well in the drone space. And I think we had our hand raised, Sharon.
I'm not seeing, there it is. It is Sharon.
Yeah, I was going to take a stab at Bounce's question, or answering Bounce's question about drone drops. So I can tell you what we're seeing and what we're hearing from the field. It's kind of a chicken or an egg story. It's which comes first? Do you need to have the jobs available and then find the people, or the people are out there and or are there enough jobs? And it's a little bit of both. What we're starting to see versus the last couple of years, so post-pandemic, one of the changes we're starting to see more and more companies are shifting from outsourcing or hiring independent pilots, for example, if you're talking about the pilot space, to wanting someone that already has that specialty knowledge and then add on that pilot skill. In fact, that might be a premium if that individual already knows how to do inspections and has that engineering experience, and they're a pilot.
Mhm.
But some companies are saying we'll pay for them to go through the training. So it is kind of a chicken or egg, but we are starting to see a narrowing of less independence, getting jobs versus more specific. I know we have a company we're talking with now that they have said, Sharon, if you could send us trained pilots that already have the stick skills of like 50 plus hours at a minimum, we're willing to work with you to put together an internship program and then help them specialize. But they didn't want to deal with someone that was just brand new. They want someone that's already got the Part 107 and already fly, not someone that just has the 107. So we're in talks with them about what that program may look like in terms of either apprenticeship or an internship program. But that's really where we're starting to see the industry go, is away from just generalists to more specialists.
Well, thank you. Appreciate that.
Thank you for that feedback, Sharon.
You're welcome.
Yes, yes. Wow. Great information. Wonderful. Thank you for everything that you shared with us, Sam.
You're welcome.
All right. I see your contact information up there. Everybody want
Yes,
to
it is.
shout out? You got a way to connect?
Definitely a hot topic,
Yes.
Samantha, because there's a lot, a lot of us are growing our businesses. The business, the drone are becoming more, the drone business is becoming more valuable to the marketplace. So I just want to say on behalf of, women of our coffee connection and women in drones, that, you really planted a seed, right? You planted a seed. There's, because, some of us do have big ass goals where we're going to, we're shooting for these really big companies and we're going to need all this kind of stuff, but you really planted a seed. I know for me, you really inspired me in that way. So thank you so much. And
You're
and
welcome.
what happens in another year, like there's a lot of, ifs right now, and that's okay. We'll get through it together. Right.
Definitely.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
So thank you, ladies, and thank you, Team Coffee. Team Coffee
Team
Connection.
Coffee. There we go.
You got,
Team
you guys,
Coffee.
you're in my tribe. I'm just let you know, my commitment is to try to be on here every Tuesday if I'm not at the dentist or something. So thank you so much.
I'm glad we compared to the dentist. Well, thank
That's
you
right.
very much. All right. Well, that was great. And Sam, can you also put your contact information into the chat? That way I know everybody has that. Already have some thank yous popping up. And it is time for us to segue over to our breakout sessions, and it looks like we're going to have some good sized rooms. If we want to go ahead and jump over into there, I'll open those up. And today's topic is going to be, how do you find placement? Where are you looking for, either on the I'm trying to obtain a position or I have a position available? What marketing areas are you looking for or looking into? All righty, open it up. That kind of wraps it up.